Toluwakemi Jacobs, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We are welcome to Big Python for Beginners version 4.0. We are most glad to have you with us. It's a pleasure to have you with us here this morning. Please, I'm on transit. Please, I beg your indulgence. Kindly pardon me for the background noise. Chinti Ho has been a data scientist in various companies, which demands high numerical and programmatic skills, especially in Python. To follow a passion for the tech community, Cheuk has been a developer advocate for 3 years. Cheuk also contributes to multiple open source libraries like Hypothesis, PyTest, Pandas, Polars, Bio3, Jupyter Notebook, and Django. Cheuk is now a consultant and trainer at CMD Lines. Beside our work, Cheuk enjoys talking about Python on personal streaming platforms and podcasts. Cheuk has also been a speaker at universities and various conferences. Besides, Cheuk also organizes tech events. Conferences that Cheuk has organized include the EuroPython, PyData London, and PyJamas Conference. Believing in tech diversity and inclusion, Cheuk co-founded Humble Data Workshops and helped organize mentored sprints for underrepresented groups. Cheuk also loves serving the community that she's in. In 2021 and 2022, Cheuk served as a board member in EuroPython Society. She's currently a Python Software Foundation Fellow since 2021 and Director since 2023. This is just a brief overview, and I'll be handing over to her. Cheuk, over to you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Okay. Good morning. That was the brief bio of Cheuk,
Yeah.
and
I'm
is a
afraid
question.
you're using my long version of my bio. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you actually gave us a short one, but we decided to pull it out from LinkedIn so that we could add more to it. So we have the chat section for us, and our focus this morning is for us to discuss about where to find learning resources for data science and the most effective way for self-learning. What most people does not know is that when it comes to data science or when it comes to learning, you have to be intentional about it. And you need to find a way to also look for a way to improve yourself personally. You don't need to wait on one particular class module before you say you've learned this, you've learned that. So firstly, before we go into that, we'd like Cheuk to give us how you venture into data science.
How to start data science, or like how to start
No,
learning?
how you, your own personal experience of what's happened and how what
Yeah.
led you to that.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question because I don't study data science in university. I study physics. So, while studying physics, I was given like a lot of opportunity to do some computational research. So I do some simulation in the computer. I learn a little bit of programming. At that time, I was not using Python, so it's really hard. um, so, yeah, like I haven't heard about data science when I was studying. So that's my journey. And then after I graduated, I have tried different jobs. Of course, like in my country, where I'm from, Hong Kong, there's not much opportunity for science graduate. So moved to the UK, and then I discovered data science. So thanks to my friend who work in tech, so I actually self-study. I started learning via a online course. So at that time is learning data science, but still not Python. I was using R. I don't know if all of you have heard about R. So it's another programming language that is favored by a lot of researcher, especially statisticians. So at that time, I was using R to do some data science like work, do some project myself, um, and also read a lot of online resources and just try applying like crazy. Like I try applying to a lot of company, and then I ended up luckily was hired as a data analyst as my first data job in a travel kind of middleman. They do like business kind of wholesale of hotel rooms and things like that. So um but the team used Python. So at that time I didn't know Python. So but they were but like I had a really good boss at the time, and then he encouraged me to learn Python. And so I start learning Python, learning pandas. I feel it's very, very different from what I have learned in the past because I was more used to, programming language like C or C++, more kind of rigid. And Python is so flexible, so easy. So I feel a bit like because I didn't know about it, so I feel a bit uncomfortable. But then like it's very like it doesn't take long to get used to Python and also learning pandas. One of the challenge I had is that because at that time I think Panda is still in very fast development. A lot of API get outdated very soon, so sometimes some online resources are out of date. And also at that time, people are switching between Python 2 and Python 3. So that was 2.7 was still a thing at that time. So a lot of things are outdated. Python 2 doesn't work if you're using Python 3. So um, that was a little bit of a challenge at the time. I think nowadays I don't see that problem that much. I think part of it is because we have moved like away from that transition period. Now more or less all the resources are Python 3. And also I have learned from my experience that always double check with the official documentation, see if things are up to date. So that's the first tip for all of you who are like self-learning or finding resources or checking answers online. Make sure double check that the version matches with what you're using, because that's what I learned when I was a beginner. That's something that tripped me over a couple of times. um so that's one thing. um any other questions?
Thank you so much for that. And this is an eye opener for some of our participants here that it is not compulsory for you to be a computer science before you can be a data scientist. And also to let you know that our anchor, though she's on transit, she has a presentation somewhere today and she needs to leave very early, but I know she will soon get to that place. Was also radiography, and she just got that idea that she needed to be more of a computer scientist. And the funniest part is, despite my encouragement or my discussion with her to just do MSc in data analytics or so, she decided to go back. She was like, there are some rudiments that she did not know. She decided to register for computer science all over again as a 4-year course. And luckily for her, she was granted a scholarship by University of People, online, that she could pursue her dream. And now she has started her BSc computer science and merging Python with it. So the chat section is there for us to bring in our question, but I would like to go to the question we have here, and would like to ask, what inspired you to consider data science as a career, and what excites you the most about it?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of desperation, to be honest. At the time I was in the
Desperation.
UK. Yeah. So uh I was like kind of at the point that I want to start a new career. I don't know really what to do. I moved to a new country. It's a bit scary, and but luckily I have a few friends that I know in university. They are already living in the UK, and they kind of suggest that I started data science because of my science background, and I have a little bit of programming knowledge. Um, so it was just, yeah, it wasn't like really like I already know what is data science and fell in love with it. It's just, um, a way for me to move forward in life. But at that time, it's a good opportunity because at that time, like data science was kind of highly desirable kind of skills to have. A lot of company want to started having data science team. Even they don't have a dedicated team, they want to have you know people who can analyze data, because there are so many data, like all the companies. You go to a website, like they collect your data whether you know it or not. Like, so every every company got lots of data. They want to make use of it, try to help the business with it. So that was a very highly desirable skills. I think it's still this, like still true nowadays. Of course, there's also AI in the mix, but it's still a very very useful skills. And even if your title is not data scientist, it's still something, I think, to able to have the how to see some messy things like data and be able to get some information out of it is a skills that, like, no matter you are working in sales or working in marketing or business intelligence, all of these roles also require some data analyst skills. So um yeah, so I think that is something that I was lucky to discover it. And then of course, after I started, I discover the Python community is a very nice place to be. People are so welcoming, and then I just fell in love with Python because it's a very very flexible programming language. It got a very supportive community. I discover, so that's my opinion, my journey is that, like, when I was using R, it's very hard to get resources to learn or to find help. Because, well, there's the online course, but all the, mentor and helps are online, they are not very readily available all the time. So I feel, yeah, it's a bit hard to find information to learn more about R when you go a little bit deeper. But for Python, it's different. Python, like, I feel is very transparent, very open. Usually when you have a question, someone already post an answer, a blog post that explains everything, which is very convenient. You don't have to, find someone to ask. Even if you want to ask somebody, the community is very helpful. After I've been to some events, I've met some people who are more experienced in Python. They are all very willingly to help when I ask for help. So yeah, so I think you know it's an accident that I started data science, but then I stay for Python because it's such a nice community. Yeah.
One thing I also did gathered something from what you said, and that was the first point you made, which was desperation. And I hope the students are listening. What are you desperate about? Are you desperate about social vices, or you are desperate about learning when you can as well bring something out? Okay. To encourage some of our students, I would like to ask, can you think of a problem in the world today that data science could help solve? And how do you think they can approach it?
Yeah. There actually, it's very hard to pick one because there's so many problems nowadays.
Exactly.
I have friends who, for example, started a hobby project of analyzing recycling rubbish because in UK we have different councils, so depending on where you live, there's different way of, like, putting where your trash goes. The plastic put here, the paper put there, and so it's quite complicated. And so she's trying to analyze it and trying to trace how all this trash goes and whether the system is efficient and other stuff. So that's a that's a data science project that, is a little bit of like kind of, oh, I want to, uh, first of all, like, I'm curious. I want to discover like what is it like, what's happening in your community. And then the next thing is that, oh, maybe that's like, I care about the environment. I want to, do something good for the environment. There's also, I remember years ago, my friend was involved in this project that is analyzing some relationship between politicians and corporation. So that's actually hit the headline, because newspaper. So that's a little bit like, oh, journalist, journalism, discovering, okay, finding the truth, finding what's going on again in our community, in our society. There are also a lot of things. I have also friends who have analyzed. So back then it's still Twitter. So like looking at all these, doing some sentiment analysis and also like text kind of NLP work to see how it could affect women. For these, maybe there's some toxic comments or toxic tweets that can affect vulnerable people like women or underrepresented people. So there are a lot of things that you could do data science for. Of course, in companies, in workplace, maybe it's more kind of a commercial use case, but even out of that, even like when you, let's say you're not working as a data scientist as a job yet, you can still find a lot of things you could do. Find something you care about to do some. Once you get your hands on the data, you can just play with it, just discover whether you can discover something that you could tell the world, like, okay, this is what I discover. What should we do about it? So yeah, even a lot of like a charity or like non-profit organization, they need people to help. So maybe you could find somewhere you can volunteer. You can do this project, some projects to help them analyze data, solve their problem, and then you can put it on your CV. That could be something you could do as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I intentionally start with that question again because I know I have software engineer student online. I have computer science. I have cybersecurity. I have those in financial analytics. I have a business administrator online. I have yes, business administrator, and I have finance student. That is to say, any data science cut across all fields, and it's just for you to sit down and think about a problem to solve. So there might not be one particular problem that you can solve, but it's all about you. As at yesterday, I was handling a class, and while I was taking that class with a master student, three research articles, research idea came to mind, and I wrote them down, and just for me to start thinking of how to go about it. So if you are here online and you are here with us, it's good for you to know that data science cut across all fields, and it's just for you to be desperate about it and try to know how to work on that. And now that leads to the next question, which some of us might be looking forward to as a beginner, that what do you think makes a great data scientist?
Okay, that's a very good question, actually. I would say that you have to be curious. When you see some data, you be excited to find out something about it. Also very patient, because a lot of time, if any of you have, try a little bit of like data science, it takes a long time, a lot of trial and error to figure it out what worked the best. Because there's something about data science that's different from software engineering. Software engineering, you write the code, more or less, okay, this will work because someone have tried it. I use the same thing, it should work, right? Um, well, I think 90% of the time, because there's still some like, tricky bits maybe here or there. But for data science, a lot of times that method work for someone else's data, it may not work perfectly for your data. Or even like it works a month ago, but now you have some new data, it may not work, or there's something better coming out. So you have to try a lot of different methods, always have the eager to improve, uh, and to, find new ways. Sometimes you just need to, like, tweak a little bit of the parameters and see if things works. And um yeah, so that's something that I feel very hard for me because I am not a very patient person. But so if you are thinking about data science, or like, you should also be aware that you have to have a lot of patience. um Another thing is that you have to also have a good judgment. So how, like, to compare the model, right? Like, what I use as a metrics to compare which one is better. Sometimes it's, not black and white. Again, like, you may have to make some, also, like, working in real life, solving real life problem. You also have to be realistic about, okay, if I deploy my model in production in real life, what challenges I may have that I haven't seen it yet. And sometimes you have to make some kind of judgment to sacrifice some kind of, when you do the experiment, it's ideal, it works, but maybe, like, oh, but maybe in real life it may not work. So maybe you have to make some judgment, and adjustment to how you solve the problem. So that is also something that, if you have very good insight and very good judgment, that's also make you having advantage in data science. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. All this has to be attributed to technical skills, problem solving ability, and the first thing you mentioned was curiosity. That is what data science is all about. I don't know what you are curious about concerning your field. I just thought that is achievable. As time goes on, I will give room for Ganil Aino to share his experience. Every Monday, he has always been posting on LinkedIn on one or two projects that he has been working on and be giving ideas on data science. I also have Omodere here. He's a 400 level software engineering, and he's also the campus lead for data science Nigeria in McPherson University. I also give him room for him to say one or two things and also contribute to this, so that it won't look as if it's only two of us that are talking, or that are saying one or two things when it comes to that. Um, Now, let's go to some practical application questions that we feel might encourage the career growth. I don't know whether you've ever worked on a data-related project, like analyzing data sets or creating visualization, and you've learned something from it. So what have you learned from it? Why doing that kind of a project?
uh I would say there is a lot to learn from projects. Actually, any data science project is to, first of all, I mentioned before, you need to have good judgment skills. So when doing, so that's something you can't just, like, read a book and then learn it, right? You have to really try it, and that's how you get the experience and be better at data science, because then you would have a feeling of, okay, that's that won't work because I've tried before. So you won't waste time when you're actually, like, working. You know that, okay, that may not be the best approach, maybe another approach is better because I've seen something similar. So a lot of these kind of things are intuition, are experience that give you. We always say, like, oh, why the masters, they know, like, they can have this insight and stuff, which a rookie, a beginner won't have, is because they have all this experience doing it. So those are the things that you can't learn it from a textbook. You have to do it yourself. You have to, like, you know dip your feet in it, just to try it out. So I think one of the good way to do more data science project is to maybe go to Cargo, go to find some data, just to get your hands on it, just to do whatever you want on it. Test out different models. Maybe you read about, oh, there's a new model, a new method, or, like, then a lot of them are open source, are free to use. So, oh yeah, just try it out, just see, like, whether it works or not. So that's would make you a better data scientist. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I know most of us in this part of the world, we are used to when it's a week to exam, we just gather our textbooks, our notebook, and start reading for exam. And you say something that you cannot learn from textbook. You need to go to where you have the data and practice. So that means practice makes perfect. So there's the call here is just for us to find a way to keep practicing no matter how hard it is. So please, for our audience and for those that are just joining the Python community, we need to learn to practice and practice, practice, practice. I also want to welcome some of my colleague at work, Mr. Tadema is a mathematician. He's also online. You are welcome. Thanks for joining. So I have a comment from Daniel here. He says, your career will introduce you to new tools, but the intersection of personal interest, practical application, curiosity makes learning effortless and rewarding. And those are those things that is passing across to us. I believe some of us are picking one or two things from this and also to um, allow us to bring up the interest in in um, data science. I also want to welcome Oyewole Risikat. She was my colleague in higher institution. She has not been able to join for the past 10 minutes, and she was like, I don't want to miss this session. And finally, she's here. You're welcome. And I believe you'll be able to grab, you've not missed much, you'll be able to get what you need to get. Um, we are talking about the 21st century. Data science is often seen as, I don't want to use a word because we are online. It's just like let's say the oil job of the 21st century. You know, in Nigeria, oil is what is raining for us and it's main of our main economy. It's the one that is driving our economy. So what do you think that is? That data science is everywhere. That is the most lucrative job in the for this 21st century. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you make a very good point. Like no matter what industry you are in, data science gonna have a place. So I think yeah, like for example, London, a lot of data scientists, actually the highest paying data science job are the one in fintech or finance, because London is a financial hub. So I guess like for your country or for your city, there may be a main industry that pay very well. But if you can do data science in that, that would be like even better. And also data science is a skills that you can transfer across different industry as well. So even if like, okay, maybe I move, to another company, that you can still keep your skills. Like it could be very easy for you to transition to another position. I would say that what makes it different today from when I started is that now AI is a big thing. I'm sure all of you have heard of AI or have, used AI more or less. So now I think the challenge of being a data scientist is that how you can use AI as a tool. We are still figuring out what AI can actually do. There's still like, new invention coming out every day. You see it in the news. So uh, some people are worried that AI is going to take our job, it's going to do everything, so company doesn't need to hire us, which I think is not true, at least not for the near future. It's more like how we can be the master of AI, how we can use it as a tool. I always look at it as like, when I was a kid, computer is more or less the same place. It's coming out. People start to have access to computer at home. But then like so that you have to learn, now even, someone who work in an office, just, a clerk, a secretary, also need to use a computer to, do meeting notes and all the stuff. Um, so yeah, it's the same. Now, like I think in the future, everybody will need to learn how to use AI or incorporate AI in their workflow. So don't be afraid to learn new stuff. and don't be afraid that it's going to take your job. As long as you have the skills, you have the technical skills, you have your logical thinking skills, you can take on the challenge. You can, know how to, be better than an AI. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. In the concluding part, you said don't be afraid to learn new stuff. And you need to put your technical and logical thinking skill into place. I part of the question I wanted to ask was, do you think AI and machine learning will replace jobs or will create new opportunities? But you've discussed that in the last question. To let I used to tell my students that AI will not replace your job. It's only those who don't use AI. So it's just like when you feel robot will replace your job, robot will not replace you. It's only those who don't know how to work on a robot, because robot will actually need someone to give instructions to the robot to perform one or two tasks. So before we go ahead, I would like to, I don't know if Amorere is available to unmute and chip in something. Amorere Idowu. Okay, while waiting for Morere Idowu, I can see Okereke, which he did something during his Sawes presentation, and it was more virtual that my students are actually producing and they are meeting up. So, Mr. Ganiu, I know it's over to you. Would like to hear from you, from your weight of experience and from what Cheuk have said.
Okay. Good day, sir. Dr. Ladapo. Good day to you, Cheuk. Thanks for the inspiring session since all this while. So, my name is Ganil, and I'm a business intelligence analyst. And same as you, I don't have background in tech. And I study business administration as undergrad, but fall in love with tech due to I don't like stats, long calculation, but Excel kind of make it simpler. So Dr. Oladapo has been a mentor for me. And during the time that I've met him, he focuses on practicing a lot. And due to that, I took encouragement from him. I use LinkedIn as my portfolio. I like learning in public. And if somebody teach me something and I don't understand it, it can take a years, but I will come back to it. And my approach to solving problem is based on a method called GCGOs. It's based on grant challenges and grant problem. So they are like health sector. So whenever I want to solve a data science problem, I used to think about this industry and what my interests are. So I pick one of them, write a little Python or do some dashboarding. And that's how I've been learning, and that's how I got a job. My first ever job is in BI role. So that's it. My encouragement to people that want to learn like me: showcase what you are learning. You don't know who is looking, and seek advice from mentor. Contribute a lot. Sometimes during my work, it's some past portfolio projects. I will go and look the code inside them or how I perform a solution, and I will integrate it with current job I'm doing with actual development environment, and it has been helpful. So thank you, sir. And if you have any question for me, yes, sir.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you
you make
very
a
much.
very good point.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, go
you
ahead, go
make a
ahead,
very
Cheuk.
good. Yeah, and so showcasing your work is very important, especially for students. Or I I can only say, like, as a woman, because I'm a woman, that like sometimes we feel a bit shy, like, oh, maybe, like, but don't be shy. Just if you discover something, or what have you learned, write a blog post or a post on LinkedIn. That's a very good point. Like, you don't know who is looking, and when you interview for a job, you can, like, someone asks you, oh, what have you done before? You can show them, because a lot of times what you do at work, you can't show it because, it's, secret, for the company. But if you have done some learning or some personal project, hobby project, show it so you can show your skills. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Cheuk, for contributing to that. Mr. Tadema, you are online. I don't know if you have anything to say. I've been trying to get in touch with you. While waiting for Mr. Tadema, I have Omorere. I'm still waiting for you. Azuka, I'm waiting for you. Elizabeth, I know you have experience of different tasks. Please, we want to hear from you and we want you to contribute to see how others can actually learn from you. And if where you are is noisy, you can as well use the chat section to also contribute. And the floor is open for as many that are willing to contribute. Also, Oluwasegun Kuntolu is from Southwestern University, and I know you are into quantum computing. So if you have anything to say, you can as well unmute. And I know I have Joseph Fatumoye, who is a pastor and is actually also interested in data science. You are free to unmute and contribute as we go. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Tadema. Mr. Tadema, we can hear you. I don't know if it's your network or.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you for ordering. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, all right, thank you. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, if maybe probably from your hand, where we can hear you loud and clear. If you can't say much, just look for where there's network, or probably you use the chat section. But I can see you are trying to talk. You can. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Actually, I'm in mathematics, and my area of research is biomathematics.
Okay.
And recently now, maybe with this data science advert of and machine learning, we started using machine learning and data science to do our stuff, analyze data and make some prediction. But for some time now, I have interest in this data analysis, but to even go, I don't even know how to go about the stuff. In an amateur, it has always been mathematics, mathematics, and mathematics. I don't know. Maybe a kind of advice that you can probably give me where to start and etc. like that. Maybe probably what I can probably lay my hands on for now, and that maybe probably that will motivate me on the stuff. Actually, I have interest in this data analysis because the current trend in this biomathematics now is data science, as in data analysis, that is analytics, that is we analyze data to make some prediction regarding any disease or any stuff like that. I don't know if you can try to advise me where to start or what probably I can lay my hands on upon. That is my question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tadema. Mr. Tadema is a faculty member, and now that he's coming out, he's into biomathematics. And I know when you're talking about data science, it comprises of mathematics, statistics, and computer science. So over to you, Cheuk, for you to advise us on this.
Actually, there is a lot of data science in the bio, especially for research. I know there are some models that is trying to study some DNA or genome. I'm not an expert in that field, so I can't really, use the term and say it very accurately. But there's actually a lot of, biomathematic stuff out there that is data science, are used in that field. There, if you go to look at all these like Python packages, so actually, I have seen it. Again, I'm not an expert in that field, so I didn't pay attention. But there's a whole set of like tools that is especially for researchers, biology researchers. So if that is something closer to your field, I think that's a very good place to start because you know that's your domain knowledge. Biology like is closer to your field, so that's your domain knowledge. You can take advantage when let's say you want to switch to be a data scientist. So maybe there are jobs that need that domain knowledge. Let's say pharmaceutical company or like research lab or these like they need people who not just can do data science but also have that knowledge. And then you would beat other people, other graduates, or other people who haven't studied biology or haven't studied as much as you. So take that advantage, discover the field where data science is used in biological research, have a look in that. Again, I'm not the expert in that field. I don't have too much knowledge, but I've seen those come across, when you do some searching. So, try looking that way. And I think that may be something you would be interested in. Also, you have an advantage for.
Okay, thank you very much. We are trying to see if this program will be between 1 hour, though we planned 1 hour, 9 to 11, but most times we always stay between 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes to at least to be able to meet up with it. Mr. Tadema, I will also get in touch. I know Cheuk's work with JetBrains, and there are some benefits we get from JetBrains. We met in Cheuk in 2024, and it was a nice moment with Cheuk being my interviewer. As at that time, I was the one beside her; she was interviewing me, and now I'm the one interviewing her. And I promised her in the interview that I will come back to my country to make an impact. And here we had that we are moving forward. And I'm happy to have also sent a message to her that all those skills that was instilled in me has brought out some opportunities for me in this country. Data Science Africa is coming to Nigeria, and I was opportune to be picked as one of the local organizing committee. And I also want Cheuk to know that the EuroPython has approved my membership and also made me a reviewer for EuroPython 2025. It has been an honor, and I promise to keep working hard and also to build people along that path so that it won't be me alone. I don't know if Oluwasegun Kutolu is available to talk. I know he's a master's student in Southern University. Also, I also have SOP. He loves to be called that, Segun Pada Repeater, who happens to be one of my students in ICT management. I don't know if you have anything to say. Feel free to unmute and ask your questions or put in your contribution before I go to the next question.
Good morning, sir. Thank
Good
you,
morning.
Doctor, and thank you, Chooks. It's a great privilege to be here. I'm just a beginner in Python, and I look forward to the future with Doctor. There's much to tap from Doctor. And one of the highlights of being a student is his style of teaching. It's very encouraging. It makes you to really look forward to another class with him. And I remember in one of the classes we had together, when he was saying, "Hey, well, that's sometimes when I'm on my own, I kind of ask myself, how did this man know that Onjiwe won?" But it is what it is. Thank you for adding value and thank you for the impact. I sincerely look forward to the future with Doctor as a student. And I think I've never, I won't lie to you, thought of resigning and joining the academics. But with the value that he has added, I must tell you, I've started thinking in that line. Thank you very much, Doctor, for adding value.
Okay, thank you, Oluwasegun Gutolu. Anyhow, that is just to confirm to Cheuk that the promise I made is actually coming to fulfillment. So I would like to go to the next question. Okay, Mayowa, can you please unmute and go ahead? Thank you. Mayowa or Moyo, sorry.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I really appreciate this kind of program because it's generally enlight, especially those people that just coming through data analysis or data science. But my question is, because I listened to her when she was talking about how she started her career and all the light. But my question is, how does he able to convince the employer or the hiring manager, even despite the fact that she doesn't have experience, and how do they have the confidence in her that she's going to perform? So that is my question. Thank you. Then can you hear me clearly because I'm on the transit?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you. How she was able to convince the employer that she's truly a data scientist. Over to you, Cheuk.
I think I am a true believer of action is louder than word. So show what you can do. Sometimes you may take a little bit of initiative of like, oh, maybe, that's what I was told to do, but I can do a step further. Like, oh, look, actually, you know, I can do it that way. And or you discover something. But also again, it depending on the culture, some culture in workplace, like, okay, you should not do extra, or like you should be careful when you suggest something to your boss because they are your boss. But still, I think, yeah, or maybe suggest like, oh, can I do a show and tell and show what I've done with colleagues, and like a study group, or you know so then you can show like, okay, this is what I've been doing, and then impress. It takes time, sometimes people, uh yeah, it takes time to change someone's opinion sometimes, but yeah, try to show what you can do. I think, yeah, like maybe suggest a show and tell. I think a lot of employers like that, because you are spending extra effort to show something that benefit the whole team. So maybe that would be a good entry point to yeah, to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just like you said, that could be a good entry point. You might need to showcase your work. And there are times that you perform something in your place of work and using the organization data, you can go to Cargo, pick a data that is related to that. Then you do one or two analyses, not showcasing what your work is all about and what you've done at work. Then you go to LinkedIn, you post, and you will see comments to actually help you. Then I hope by now you all have a GitHub account, you all have a Cargo account, all of these to participate in different hackathons to work with, which is a good way to start. There's no perfect place to start. All you need to do is start somewhere. When I met Ganil, we were grouped together in an hackathon. We couldn't finish the hackathon, but at least we were able to learn, and from there we picked it up. So thank you so much. So Marire Idowu, can you please unmute and go ahead?
Okay, good morning. So, can you hear me, please?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you loud
Oh,
and
okay.
clear.
Good. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. Ladapo. Good morning, Ms. Cheuk. First, thank you very much for this session. It's been really insightful. I have a question, and I also, before that, I would like to thank Ms. Cheuk for her advice so far. I still am a student, but mostly I have already worked as an intern, mostly doing data analysis tasks. And just to reiterate what she has said so far, the most important thing for anyone that's learning is to build projects. So I'll say that's what I can add from my very little experience. Um, there's no point learning and learning and having nothing to show for it. So projects really are the most important thing. And then my own question now, I, as a student, because I'm a software engineering student, but I've been interested in data and data science for a very long time. So what would be your advice to me or anyone else that's considering going into either machine learning research or machine learning engineering? Like, how do we know which
Yeah, I think so I think people who study, have already studied it, programming and software engineering, have a little bit of advantage because in data, very adjacent to data science field, there's a field called data engineers. So they are people because like a lot of times we have data scientists who maybe from like any background, they have the domain knowledge, they would have some insight about the data, but then like after they have done the analysis and all those, like some company want to make it into a product, and then data engineer can come in and say like, hey, I know how to make it into a product. So that is an advantage that you may be interested in. I don't know whether you just want to work with data or you are like interested to help turning this, data product into a real product. um, that's one thing I think you have the advantage for. Another thing is like if you want to, really, oh, I want to do more about data. I want to like, you know, move away from the engineering side more to the the data uh, analytic, or data science side. I think you have said something very important already, like do the project, try it. The more data you have seen, the more insights you get. Again, like this is something you can't just learn from a book or learn because someone told you. That is from your insights, from looking at that. Like, so if you are experienced data scientist, you'll be able to look at the data and see, okay, so first of all, what problem this data may have. Like, do you need to clean it? Do you need to process it first before you do anything else? So that's the first, like some people call it feature engineering, but yeah, it's more or less the same. You just like what we have to do with the data, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is like how we can use the data, we what may what question may be answered, right? So that's the second thing that data scientists will be able to tell, like more or less when they look at the data. So yeah, asking the right question. So so those are the skills that is like maybe if you want to, oh, I want to be better, that you can also look into that as well. So I think yeah, that would be yeah, just keep trying new things, doing more projects, show it to everybody. I think yeah, we have talked about those already. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Omoriri, for that question. And I also have Nobu, Ebenezer Nobu, and is online. And I know most of my students are all mostly like hiding their skills. And I know they have these skills. I know they're actually making use of it. So, Ebenezer Nobu, after this question, I want you to ask your question or contribute. Okereke, I'm still waiting for you. Fa Elizabeth, I'm still waiting for you. And others, Adeshida, I'm waiting for you. I know you have these skills and I know you are into one or two things, but at least let's learn from you. I have other participants here that are willing to learn. The next question I have is what challenges do you think you might face in learning data science and how do you plan to overcome them? So over to you, Cheuk. The question is, what challenges do you think we might face in learning data science, and how do we plan to overcome them?
Yeah, I think I touch on a little bit about, sometimes, resources online are not up to date. So that's, I already covered that, so I won't repeat. Another challenge that you may face learning data science is that there are so many new things coming out, like new models coming out. You just feel that I don't have enough time. So that's also true. But again, I think, yeah, sometimes you will feel lost, like looking at so many data, so many different models, like everybody's using different method. Which one is better? So yeah, you may find a bit lost when you are, digesting so much information. I would say again, start with something you are interested in. Um, Look at, find a data set that's related to your work or related to your research or related to something that you are interested in, and like, then from there you can look into, okay, so now I have a problem. What tools do I need? What things I need to learn to solve that problem? So it gives you a target. It kind of, be a guide for you to just look at one thing at a time, just look at the things to solve the problem so far. So after that, then you can maybe look at something different. So yeah, just do it one thing at a time. There's so many, there are like time series data, there are like sometimes the NLP, sometimes do the categorization. There's so many different projects that you could do. So I was a little bit like that when I started. I was like, oh, I'm very thirsty. I want to learn all this cool stuff. But yeah, sometimes it will overwhelm you. So yeah, one thing at a time. Set some goals for yourself. Maybe, okay, I will spend 3 months doing this project, learn everything that this project can provide, and then maybe next 3 months do something else. So set some goals so you won't get overwhelmed and got lost in all these, amazing data science things. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Concerning that, one thing I know when it comes to data science, I will just feel like all these are too much for you to just put into one place. But all you need to do is to be specific and focus on one part so that people will know you for that part. And when they are looking for an expert in that part, you actually be called upon. So, Okereke, Elizabeth, Noble, any one of you, Azuka, I can see you. Anyone? Okay. Mo, you're sorry, you are raising up your hand. We don't know whether it is intentional or okay. Any one of you? Elizabeth, Noble, Okereke, anyone?
Hello.
Hello, Mayowa, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to peep in. Yeah, Mr. Gani shared me something yesterday regarding to this campaign that populates are doing, like I think 150 days or yeah about for free trial. So in case if anybody want to learn snowflakes, it's very easy. You just need to register. Then there's a lot of video that we can also watch to guide us on how to make use of it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Mr. Ganil, thanks for that. Just send the link to me. I'll forward it to as many that are ready to learn. And that is that. So, Azuka, over to you. Azuka, over to you.
Okay, good start. Ma, thank you, Ma, for this exposition on data science. But there's a serious question I had. I initially wanted to venture into data science, machine learning especially. But the issue I used to have was I'm not too comfortable just like lifting from Python packages and just using them directly. Usually, I want to understand what is behind those scikit-learn packages. Like, what is how does logistic regression classify all these classifiers? How do they actually work? But what scared me off was the amount of mathematics that I was seeing there. I was seeing a lot of calculus and
Exactly.
optimization. I was seeing a lot of linear algebra. I was seeing Bayesian probability and others, and it was quite, I will use the word overwhelming and not really attractive. So I wanted to know how much math is actually necessary to know before I venture into machine learning, especially.
Yeah,
Okay, Cheuk,
I would
thank
say
you.
that that's that's a very good example of getting overwhelmed. um, yeah, that's true. That so let's say I'm doing this project and it used linear regression, and it kind of work it magically, but I want to understand why it works, right? What's the underworking of it? I think that's a legitimate like curiosity things to have. I also am that person. I'll be like, okay, it works, but why? Um, so of course, in scikit-learn, probably in documentation, we'll link to a paper. And I don't know about you, I don't like reading academic papers. Yeah, I'm a bit, I can easily get overwhelmed with academic papers because they like they're research papers. They're just telling like people, okay, to prove the point why it works and do a lot of experiment to show that it works. But you just need to know kind of high level the concept of why it works, right? You don't have to like dive into the detail because you are you have to, criticize it. You're not a researcher, right, in that field. So I would suggest maybe sometimes look into other resources. Like, I'm sure if you type, okay, how does linear regression work? There are a lot of people who have digested those information and put it in a blog post, maybe with some nice pictures to illustrate how it works. Sometimes you may even find some free courses that the lecturer explained it. So that would be an easier version for you to learn. I think again, everything takes time. You don't have to know everything. So for example, oh, I come across linear regression the first time. I just want to use it, right? I just want to finish my project. It's fine for now, but then like just maybe write down in a notebook or something, and then next time you come across linear regression again, and then oh, last time I just kind of make it work, but now the second time I use it, I want to know more about it. I want to get to know it better. So then you can, you know, so you don't have to learn everything, because otherwise at the beginning you have to learn everything. It's too much. Then maybe just learn a few things. The others just okay. If it works, then I'm going to leave it for next time. So like every time you just learn a few things, and then you just slowly accumulate rather than everything all at once. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Everything takes time. You don't have to know everything. Then the concept of how it works is what you have to give attention to. I would like to, we have two more questions to go from my hand, and while I'm also wishing others will be able to ask, I have a question. Okay, I will add you to the Python for Beginners group. Just send a chat to me on WhatsApp, then I'll be able to the Python for Beginner group is growing. So if I want to ask if you could get advice from a professional data scientist, what will you ask them? I'm asking you now. Let's assume you're actually, I know you are a professional data scientist, but if you could get an advice from a professional data scientist, what will you ask them?
Oh, um, I would probably ask um how much time they would spend like in each experiment, because I am not a patient person. Sometimes like I try, it takes a lot of time to try, all these experiment, and I wonder sometimes like how much time you try until you gave up and try another approach, because sometimes I just feel like I'm diving into this rabbit hole and I'm going nowhere, and I feel very frustrated. So that's my personal challenge. I want to ask um if someone else, ask them like, if you're me, like when do you know that okay, maybe I should try another approach to not get frustrated? So yeah.
Thank you very much. I remembered the poster I came to present in Czech took me a lot of nights for me to get into before I could get my data analysis. I would stay back on campus to 10 o'clock before going back to my accommodation. And like you said, how much time in the experiment? It takes a lot of time to try out this experiment. And that is to tell most of our participants that don't give up. When you are trying this experiment and it's not giving you the desired output, don't give up. Keep working. So before I go to the last questions, I'm having Mayowa. Can you please unmute and go ahead?
Hope I'm not talking too much.
No,
I
you
just
are
want
not.
to,
It's
okay,
a
thank you.
good one.
I mean, though I'm not a data science, I'm more or less business intelligence analyst or data analyst. But what is the roadmap, especially for those that want to go into data science? Like, what is the tools that they need to learn? And as you said, that we should not combine like learning the tools together. We should learn it one after the other. So what is the step? Maybe we should learn the Excel first, then followed by SQL or Python first. So what do you think would be the best tools to learn first? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It is three questions in one: roadmap, tools, and steps. Over to you, Cheuk.
Yeah, I think nowadays I realize that the term like data analyst and data scientist are starting to get like closer and closer, and there's no like hard boundary of okay, which is where. I think it's more about what's the goal uh of the end goal. Like I think data analyst maybe a lot of times the end goal will be getting some insight, making a presentation, putting things nicely in a graph in a presentable way and present it to the business. Um, versus data scientists maybe need to do something more like modeling, do some prediction, need to have an actual like predicted outcome. So that, but again, like that may not be the case for all the businesses. The term is there's nobody there just like this is the definition. You have to just everybody trust me. So it's a bit hard to tell. So if you are like a data analyst, you want to step into the data science field, I think it's not that hard. Maybe like learn a little bit more, like I said, the prediction side of things, which sometimes, okay, a lot, well, sometimes you can do it with a graph, like, oh, if I use Excel, let's say, to draw a graph, you can still do some prediction. You can like maybe some line of projection, you can do that. But there are more tools out there. For example, scikit-learn. So, or TensorFlow, this like deep learning kind of thing. So if you want to be better at giving a prediction or like doing more complicated things, learning how to code, it will be a big step from data analyst to data scientist. I'm not saying that other tools are not important. They're still, for example, your business may still have all this data coming from an Excel. I've been in that situation before, and well, why don't you put it in a database? No, they just have it in Excel. So, that's that as well. But I would say that again, like the big step up is to learn a programming language, mostly Python. Because Python have a lot of tools that you can use to um to uh manage the data, to manage the data, clean it up, and do more things with it rather than just a limited tool. Let's say Power BI or Excel, or those those are also tools, but it's kind of limited. Um, I would. That's my opinion. Yeah. Nope. You're muted.
You are muted, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I have some question on WhatsApp too that I'm actually listening to. Someone is asking how data science can be of help in risk management career.
Oh, risk management.
Mhm.
That's actually a field that use a lot of data science. So of course, I have friends who work in insurance or assurance company, which is all these like kind of you have to do a lot of statistic. You have to calculate the risk. So yeah, risk management. I think again, like you have to understand the risk. How high are the risk? Which one is higher? So all these, again, data science will help you. Um, I'm not so sure about the management part, but of course, yeah, like, but yeah, like run stimulation. Yes, that's very good point. Yeah, so you know, uh, yeah, it's actually very useful.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. It's actually very useful. And I would like to tell the person to my PhD project was on risk management model, or I developed a model for pluvial flood risk, and it's actually a good one. So I said we have two more questions for you, but I realized that we've not factored in questions in relation to our Q&A teams. Don't forget that our Q&A teams is where to find learning resources for data science and the most effective way for self-learning. I just realized that. So we'd like to go to that now. So sorry. My partner, Miss Oluwakemi Jacobs, is she's on transit going for a presentation, and that's why she could not be doing all of this. And I'm doing that on her behalf. I know she's not too happy about that, but this was an urgent call. So we'd like to ask, where can we find learning resources for data science?
Yes, there's a lot of resources out there. I would name a few. I would also explain what is good, what is like pros and cons. Um, so first of all, learning resources, online courses. That's how I started. Pros is that it has a structure. If you are someone who is like, oh, I need to have a structure, I need to, people say that you have to hand in the homework, otherwise I'm lazy, then of course could be a better for you, because then you follow, and then you have to push yourself to submit the homework and do all the homework, all the quizzes and stuff. The cons is that a lot of them are not free. The good ones usually are not free, so it will have some cost in it. Not everybody can afford it, I know. So that's the cons. Um, and other learning resources, I think we have mentioned it before. Kaggle is, mostly free. I think I haven't seen anything that is you have to pay for it. So a lot of data you can use to learn, especially if you a project driven person that like, oh, I need to, have something to play with. Otherwise, I won't learn anything. Then Kaggle is a very good place. You can find the materials, which is the data to play with. You can also look at other people's work. There are some people uploading their model there, so you can also use it as a reference. Uh, you can also share your work there if you want. So Kaggle is it's good in that way. And it's free. So that's the good thing about Kaggle. But the cons is like, again, there's so many things there. You may find overwhelmed if you look at just like click on the data set. You see there's so many data sets there. Which one should I start with? So you
Mhm.
have to really be, a person who is very good at arranging your own like roadmap, your own goal. Like, okay, this time I want to analyze, let's say stock data, then just look at time series data, look at what people use for time series. You have to structure it yourself and set yourself a goal, like also a deadline if you're a deadline driven person. So that's what is lagging in Cargo. There are also other resources similar to Cargo, like that you could read. There are lots of blog posts out there. Some of the website is towards data science, got a lot of blog posts. Another is Medium. Medium, I think there is like if you sign up for free, there's a limit of what you can read, and then after that, is you have to pay. So there's still some like kind of it's not fully free issue there. So blog posts are mostly for people who want to understand what. So rather than reading paper, you want to understand something, how it works, then a lot of good blog posts in Medium or towards data science will have a very good explanation with a lot of good pictures there to help you learn. Again, it's not fully free, but with free kind of limitation, you can still do some reading. So yeah, I mixed the pros and cons together now. But the thing again, like it's mostly for reading. So it's like more kind of like when you are working on a project, you want to find more information, or if you want to do some regular reading, get inspired, then it's a good place to read. But then like again, we talked about that before. If you really want to learn something, you have to actually use it. So I would suggest if you read something that interests you, maybe start a project related to that, then you can actually put that into action. You can, try it out yourself. That's my recommendation. So there are like kind of different type of learning resources. Of course, there are documentation, scikit-learn documentation, very explicit, like, but documentation, I would say most of the time I use it when let's say, I'm trying out this new tool. Let's say I don't know scikit-learn. I'm trying to use scikit-learn for the first time. Uh, Always go to the documentation website to see, what I should be using. They now have like search function, or even you don't go to search function. You can even just type it in search engine like Google, and then look for like, okay, Stack Overflow is also useful sometimes, but look for the look for the official documentation one, and then look at it and understand how to actually use it. Because again, a lot of times information online in forums, they can be outdated. So I'm not saying they are not useful. Sometimes someone have a very good answer and explain everything in detail. That's even better than documentation, but hit or miss. Sometimes it's not. So do it like documentation and other things. So to help you. And scikit-learn documentation, they have all this research paper. If you're really that person who love research papers, then yeah, you got it. Yeah, so I think that's different resources you can find online and learn. And the last thing I would suggest is to have a study group, like, like this. So have a group of friends, maybe do some projects together or inspire each other, maybe just present what have you learned, or present have you, what have you done recently, and then get inspired each other. Or sometimes you can even, oh, have you seen something like this before? Why it doesn't work? Like, so maybe someone can help you as well. So you can helping each other. So that's that's the last thing that I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much for that. From the last thing you've mentioned, we have a general proverb that says a tree does not make a forest. So you can as well just have a study group, and that is why we are having this kind of program that we are looking forward to. Then that's why we decided to create a Python community to help others. And I gave a thumbs up to what you said on documentation. If you check the chat, I've sent the documentation and tutorial links on Skitlearn, Pandas, NumPy, and some cargo courses. All you need to do is just you might not need to watch any video. I've seen someone in our first webinar that shared his experience. We met in Data Science Nigeria Artificial Intelligence Bootcamp, and while we were walking to our hostel, he told me he learned Python basically on documentation, not at any other thing. So these are things that we take time to look into. And as a researcher, I will encourage as many of you to also find time to read, to understand the basic knowledge, just like Azuka has mentioned. Before we go to the last two questions, there's a question from Okereke, my lovely student. They disturb my class too much, but I want to know, Okereke, that I cherish you and I like you. So the question is that I feel that we all here should know the most rewarding part of working as a data scientist. So what are the most rewarding part of working as a data scientist?
I think the most rewarding thing is you know that you can make a difference. I remember my first like kind of adrenaline is that when I was working in my first job, I write some program, try to like predict the sales, and so it kind of run every day. And then one day it's just like something weird happened. It's like why we suddenly have so much like sale and it doesn't make sense. And like, so kind of I notified the sales team, like person in charge of that. And then they discover it's a mistake in the system. We actually don't have that cell, but someone put an extra zero or things like that on it. So yeah, so and then it's good that we catch it like very, very soon. Otherwise, like maybe we are like, okay, we thought we have this cell and then prepare all these like, rooms for this client and things like that. So yeah, like when your work actually make an impact on either your work for your company or make an impact for the society. Maybe you discover something and then you show it to the world and someone realize it and then like got inspired, or you never know, like sometimes is you can talk to your local, I don't know, like we have local council. Maybe if you discover some problem in your neighborhood, you can present it to them. Maybe they would help you to solve the problem. Or you know even like maybe in your school you can like, oh, I discovered this. So yeah, making an impact is something that you feel you have the superpower to do it when you see that happening. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I realized that the second to the last question I wanted to ask is most effective way for self-learning. But I know you've mentioned you can start with Python, because Python has given us a platform um, for generalization, not like any other programming language. I know there have been issues with R and Python. Also, you should learn how to handle data and visualization. Then you should work on real projects, you engage in community, then you learn to build a portfolio and you keep updating your skills. Those are the things we've gathered from this question and from this webinar. Before I go to the last question, I would like to allow Noble, Ebenezer Noble, my header statesman. Can you please unmute and go ahead?
Good day. Thank you very much, sir. So my question is, how can I transition into data science as a front-end engineer coming from a JavaScript background?
Yeah, I love telling people they have superpower. Like every time, like, oh, my background is that. Like, so I think as a front end engineer, your superpower in the data field is that you can make very pretty, very informative visualization. I'm not saying that's the only thing you could do, but that's something you would have an advantage. Um, so again, like also if you have done JavaScript, I think Python won't be too hard for you to learn. So that's another advantage you have. Um, so yeah, I think the other things you may have to like, oh, spend a little bit of time to learn is like, again, looking at data, do some data science project, really see what you can get out of it. Just find some data and then make a very nice, visualization, maybe a web page that can like, have some infographic or something. Then maybe that would be something you're interested to do. And then by doing it, then oh, this kind of data need, for example, time series data is doesn't make sense to have a pie chart or bar chart, right? Then you get to understand different type of data, what you can get out of it. And then of course learn some Python, and then you can do some other machine learning things like, again, all the things in scikit-learn for you to use. You can do some prediction, or even, after that you can even do some deep learning, whatever you like. So yeah, the sky is the limit. But I would say that since you have the JavaScript background, I think, yeah, visualization and also programming would be your strength for now.
Okay. Thank you very much. The sky is the limit. So all you need to know is that you can as well venture into any of your skills. Thank you, Kereke, for that. And is I don't know how to put it. I wish we can continue this meeting for as long as possible, but we just have to put an end to it. And lastly, I would like to ask that where do you see data science in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years. So again, I'm thinking data science is gonna stay. It's very important in a lot of industry. I would just see that it's just that data science, because before data science kind of like a very vague term of like including anything to do with data. I think now in companies start to realize they need to have some specialization of like, oh, data analyst is more like kind of, giving insight and other stuff, and then like, or maybe machine learning engineers, they have this new term now to like, it's more about, coding and building something that, could be a product, can predict something. So yeah, I think in the future maybe you have to be more specialized in one field. I think right now is fine. Like when you're just starting, just learn as much as you can, find what interests you, what excites you, then you can go towards that specialization. Um, so yeah, becoming more and more specialized is like what data science is going to be. Of course, again, AI is going to stay, and I'm not saying that like everybody should be an AI engineer or anything like that, but make sure you're in the know of AI, so you can make use of it. Like, some, yeah, I already see a lot of people using ChatGPT for a lot of things, but are they doing it correctly? Should they use ChatGPT for that kind of things? So, or should they do a fact check after that as well? So those are the things that you need to learn. So
Thank you very much for that. Like even ChatGPT, if you check the lower part of the app, it will inform you that whatever information you are gathering, you should verify that you don't depend on that. And that is why you need to find time to read more and also acquire the required skills and knowledge for you to contribute to anything you are doing. Um, Omoyosoye, it's nice having you on this platform. And I think you want to say something. Can you please unmute and contribute?
Sincerely, you have answered my question because my question is around the AI. Based on what you said earlier, that AI is not going to take our work, but it's going to optimize it in such a way that we're able to do it in more efficient way. But my question is, how can a data analyst make use of AI in such a way that it will not compromise the company policy in terms of the data security? And at the end of the day, we're able to do it in such a way that it will enhance our work and it will not take part. When you focus more on AI, you will not even know how to do some things. Once you believe that AI will give you. So how can we do it in such a way that it will not affect us and it will not affect the company that we are working with in terms of data security?
yeah, I
Okay.
think that's a very good point about data security. So that's why there's a lot of situation you can't use AI. I have also heard about some people, they have projects that they can't even put it like, they can't even have a model in the cloud to send the data. Even if their own model, they can't do that because the data can't leave the local network. So yeah, there are situations like that. So again, you can't rely on AI. AI could be a good tool for some situation, but again, like it is bound by your company's policy, right? If in doubt, ask your manager. Your manager will know who to ask, maybe your company lawyer, or like, sometimes there may be, let's say your company have a contract with this AI provider, and if you got a green light, you could use it, but still, you have to be careful what you can use AI for, right? It can't do everything for you. You are still the boss. You have of AI. You still have to like make sure that the thing AI give you is not wrong. Like, so for example, if you use a AI assistant for coding, right? So even if your company say like, oh, we have a contract with this company, you can use this AI coding agent, okay? But the code that the AI coding agent gave you, you are still in charge. If it gives you something wrong and then you just use it, and then if something wrong happened, you can't just tell your boss like, oh, AI did it, right? It's still like, why you didn't check? So you are still responsible. And yeah, AI could be make you faster. You don't have to code it yourself, or like it's sometimes you do something faster, but still you are in charge. You have to make sure that this is not something that you are ashamed to share. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so
That's it.
much for that. And I have contribution flowing. Thank you. You can use Copilot for M365. It protects your organization data and it relies really on your own data. So thank you so much, Mr. Ganyu, for that. And that is what I used to tell my students. My student does not know how lucky they are because upon becoming the acting director of ICT, we were able to secure the Microsoft license for virtually 29 apps, where anytime they log in with their student account, they have access to free use of Microsoft 365. And these are things that they can actually use for simulation. We have the Azure part that you can make use of. I know they are here, and I hope they will be able to make good use of that to improve themselves and also contribute to the existence of data analytics and data science. On this note, we'd like to put an end to this. We've spent 1 hour, 30 minutes, and part of our culture is that we don't want to use beyond that too, because we know Cheuk and other participants have a lot of appointments to work with, but because we are building a community and they are decided to sacrifice, if you have to pay for this session, we know how much you will pay. But thank you so much, Cheuk, for creating time, and thank you for allowing me to be part of Hero Python 2024 that actually changed me as a person, and I've also continue in that path to impact my people. By God's grace, Lias Cavao have agreed to be part of this program, and she will be our speaker for March 2025. So it's another time that we'll be having with her in March for my people to understand and I can see. Thank you, James Fatumo. Thank you, Nora of Young. I can see you, Olusegun Jaffet. You are online. Mr. Tadema, thank you. Adeshida, I know you decided not to talk, but I can see you. Okay. Thank you very much. I can see Mr. Ganil telling you Esheo in Yoruba language. You might need to use AI to interpret that. But Eshe in Yoruba language means thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you. Mr. Tadema, you want to say something? Let me quickly give you the opportunity. So feel free to unmute and contribute because of our time, but I'll still give you that time. Okay, Mr. Tadema, over to you. Mr. Tadema, you can mute or use the chat section. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, you can as well leave your comment. And thank you, William Sadeshino. That was also my colleague.
Thank you.
From Olabisi Onabanjo University. If you check the chat section, I can see Joseph Oluson is sending a chat to you in Chinese language or Korean language. I wouldn't know. Just to say thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice having you. I really appreciate everyone that have joined online and also for the community. The community is growing and we are trying our best. So thank you for this opportunity. So we'd like to put an end to the webinar. Hopefully we meet by God's grace next month, same time, third week of every month, and also with another speaker. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I forgot. We're supposed to do a group picture. So let's unmute. Sorry, let's use our camera. Let's release our camera so that we can snap our group picture. Yes, thank you. Our camera is time for group picture. I know. Yes, thank you, Oluwasegun Oguntolu. Thank you. Joseph Fatumo. Okay. It's time for group picture. Mayowa, thank you. I know most of my students, because they are in the hostel, might be just on mute, and so just show your camera so that we can do a picture. Iniolu Alonge, I could see you. Risikat, I could see you. Who else again is I know someone is behind Iniolu Alonge. Maybe two of you join together. I won't mark my attendance nice now. Okay, I could see you. So it's time for the group picture. Let's go by that. Okay, 1, 2, ready, go. It's time for picture. Okay. Okay, done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fatoki, you came in late. Yeah, at least I picked up that. Femi Precious and Oni, you take Joseph Olusoya. You also came in late. Yeah, at least we'll be able to do that. So thank you so much. We put an end to this. If you have any further information, anything to grab, just feel free to chat me up. I'm ready to assist and send in some free resources for you. I've been posting this Udemy link for you. Don't forget, it's the fastest finger. By the time I post, register, and those of you that can pick the free version, you make sure you have access to it. So thank you. Bye. Cheuk, thank you. God bless. We see you very
Bye.
soon. By
Okay.
God's grace.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.